The following is a presentation of the Hampton Road Sports Network.
Two of the legendary coaches in Virginia high school basketball square off as HRSN's coverage of the 7th annual VirginiaPreps.com Hoops Classic begins. Closing in on 700 wins, George Lancaster brings the Highland Springs Springers to Norfolk to take on Darren Sandelin's Booker T. Washington Mighty Bookers. The VirginiaPreps.com Hoops Classic is straight ahead on HRSN. And welcome to the Batten Center at Virginia Wesleyan College, where tonight HRSN presents a doubleheader from the VirginiaPreps.com Hoops Classic. John Laaser with you alongside Coach Ed Young from Nansemond River. And Coach, speaking of coaches, our first matchup tonight features Booker T. Washington and Highland Springs and a couple legends from your coaching fraternity.
No doubt about it, John. You're looking at two of the big legends. George Lancaster, longtime veteran coach for the Highland Springs. Going on 700 wins. You're looking at Darren Sanderlin, former player for Booker T, high-energy type coach. He's going on 200 wins. These are throwback teams that really play some hard-nosed basketball.
The Mighty Bookers spent the holiday season competing in the Scope Holiday Invitational. There, Jeremiah Jenkins played the role of hero. He leads a talented group of Bookers into this matchup tonight.
You mentioned Jeremiah Jenkins, 5'10" youngster, full of energy. Kid can knock down threes from anywhere. You got to make sure you keep an eye on him. Hit one from inside half court that won the championship over at the Scope Invitational. But it's not a one-man team, Booker T. You've got the Gaddy boys inside, big fellas, 6'4", take up a lot of space inside and rebound. Booker's not a one-man team. They bring a lot.
Meanwhile, George Lancaster and Highland Springs spent the holiday season getting over the flu bug. It affected the team, it affected the coaches, it affected their star, A.J. Gaston. The coach said he probably shouldn't have played in a loss to L.C. Bird, but he's good to go tonight.
No question about it. The flu bug is hurting a lot of teams this time of the year. But the Trapp kid is very good for him, 6'3" senior. He's a little bit of a throwback player also. He gets rebounds. He doesn't get overly excited in a basketball game. Lets the game kind of come to him. But again, it's a team that's traditionally strong. It's not a one-man unit. They've got some other boys, Crenshaw. They got some guys that can really play.
Double dip of holiday high school hoops here on HRSN. It's the VirginiaPreps.com Hoops Classic here at the Batten Center in Virginia Wesleyan College. We're ready for starting lineups on site here for Booker T. Washington and Highland Springs. And for that, we bring in public address announcer Bill Nettles.
For the Springers, number 2, Kirvell Alexander. And forward, a 6'3" senior for the Springers, number 5, Michael Sim. And guard, a 6'3" senior for the Springers, number 4, A.J. Gaston. And in guard, a 5'10" senior for the Highland Springs Springers, number 10, Na'Quon Trapp. Head coach for the Springers in his 38th season is George Lancaster. He is assisted by Jonathan Penn, Kirvell Williams, Anthony Gaskins, Moses King, and Rodney Henry. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the starting lineup for the Booker T. Washington Fighting Bookers. And forward, a 6'5" sophomore for the Bookers, number 24, Brandon Gaddy. And forward, a 6'3" junior for the Bookers, number 4, DeAndre Carter Dupree. At center, a 6'7" senior
Just about set for the opening tap. Bill Nettles' voice usually cues that. And Ed Young, your keys to tonight's matchup.
For Booker T, they got to get on the glass. That's what they're known for. They're out-rebounding their teams by at least 10 a game. They got to continue it. Finish defensive possessions. Play the possession all the way through. Don't hurt it. Try to leak out on the offense. Be more Jekyll, less Hyde. You got to play good, solid basketball. Stop turning it over. And, of course, for the Springers, find a flow. A lot of people can score. Get the right people the ball. Keep that pace going throughout the game. Who's ever hot, you can ride him. When he's cold, you got somebody else. Hard over height, this team's not overly big, but, boy, I tell you what, they'll go 100%.
Saw Booker T. Washington take the floor first. It'll be the Fighting Bookers in the whites. Highland Springs led by head coach George Lancaster in the gold. And we are set for basketball. Remember, first of 2 games tonight come your way on HRSN. Another great one between John Marshall and Lansdowne later tonight. But we're underway in Game 4 here at the VirginiaPreps.com Hoops Classic. And the Springers will start with the basketball.
Booker T open it up man-to-man, which they're well known for.
As you mentioned, hard over height for this Highland Springs team. George Lancaster was quick to point out that they'll be outmanned from a physical sense, feel they have the quickness advantage.
That I can see too, but I'll tell you what, they're not going to be that much out physical. It's a team that also thrives on getting out rebounding opponents.
3-point look is there for Sims. And we'll get our first foul as over the top went Kirvell Alexander.
Again, you got to box out on those shots.
Standing crew of officials, Scott Schoolmate, Eric Gray, and Ernie Banks Jr. First for Alexander, the senior forward. First possession for the Fighting Bookers.
I've had these referees, and I'm telling you, John, they're 3 of the best.
Jenkins boys playing catch-up high there. Jeremiah's the sophomore. And they get an easy one down low for Brandon Getty.
Again, good ball movement for Bookers and finding Getty inside, and it ain't hard to miss that big fella.
First minute gone by. Not hard to miss his brother as well, his twin brother Breon. We'll see him a little bit tonight.
Yeah, I think Breon is the one that's got to the second and third helpings, though, at the dinner table.
Jadon Jenkins stripped that one away down low. Here come the Fighting Bookers. Transition 3 for Jeremiah Jenkins, and that's down.
That's what he's known for. You give him any kind of space, that's his game. He's had a couple this year where he went perfect from the three-point line.
Jeremiah Jenkins listed at 5'10". Might be a misprint. Looks about 5'6", 5'7". That didn't stop him from playing the hero. Love to paint a word picture of that buzzer beater. It was spectacular in the Scope Invitational.
John, think about somebody trying to win a car in a halftime buzzer shot. There's your picture.
That's a better word picture, and that's an easy bucket. Kirvell Alexander.
Again, Highland Springs working the ball also. Take a page out of Booker T's offense. Working around, get it down low, get the easy shot.
Risky pass in transition, but the Bookers will keep it.
Again, both these teams, too, will do a lot of pressure defense. Here we coming up on this. Again, you leave him open on that 3. Mr. Jenkins can knock it down. Highland Springs saw that.
Jeremiah Jenkins running the show generally, but he'll give it up to DeAndre Carter-Dupree here. He'll set it up against the Springers defensive set.
Both these teams really are transitional type teams too, but more so Booker T than Highland Springs, that they'll score quickly in transition. Defense fuels a lot of their offense.
Jadon Jenkins, the older Jenkins brother, leaves it behind for his kid brother.
Some brotherly love out there, passing the ball around.
Long range look for Gaddy, maybe a bit out of his range.
Yeah, again, I would think that's a little bit too quick of a shot, but then again, Booker T does not waste time putting the ball up.
Big Troy Harris off the junction, and he'll draw the draw the foul.
Foul on Ingram.
He's on Ezekiel Ingram. That's his first, and just the first as a team.
Here comes Highland Springs on transition inside. And again, you've got to move your feet, young man, number 23, Ingram. You got to step in.
Big Troy Harris, 6'4" senior, plays the middle. Some guys returning from injury and potentially tonight for Highland Springs, and Coach Lancaster said that's a bit of a conundrum for them, including Harris, as he's the 5th starter amongst 5. We may see him lose some minutes, if not tonight, Coach, going forward a bit.
Well, again, they've had to do some changing around with some kids hurt, and again, dealing with that flu bug, and some of these kids still feeling a little under the weather.
Bookers by a pair, and that pass picked off. And a transition opportunity on the run out, and the easy one is down for Trapp.
Again, Booker T, one of our keys, we said they've got to protect that basketball. We talked about being more Dr. Jekyll. They have got to play good, solid basketball. Highland Springs takes advantage of opportunities.
That from way out there from Jenkins.
That's about 30 foot. That's an NBA three. But again, apparently he can make it. He wouldn't be taking those.
And here's a pull-up on the other end, and that's down for A.J. Gaston.
That's a young fella, too. Now, he's taken about 75 threes this year, so that's not foreign land to him. Highland Springs on the pressure. 2-2-1, three-quarter court press.
Gaston, the leading scorer for the Springers. 20.9 per tilt thus far. Got the triple there. Give the Springers their first lead.
They settle back into a 1-2-2 zone here where they're trying to pressure up top, bring that defense up high.
Driving against that zone is Ingram.
And again, there's a mistake. They've got the zone up high, John, but nobody step in. Somebody drives, you got to put both feet in front of that guy.
Booker T ramping it up on the perimeter, but the Springers maintain possession. And Booker T takes it away. Carter Dupree with the steal. Numbers for the Bookers. Gaddy, right side.
Finger roll 3-on-2. That's what you got to do is draw the defense. Nobody really went to him that time. Took it all the way in.
Fast-paced first 4 minutes of this opening quarter.
See
Booker's
Coach
back
Sandlin.
ahead.
Coach Sandlin really going crazy on that defense. He wants that double team trap, but they beat it out of there, John.
A.J. Gaston bottoms out another one.
That's that marquee defense for Booker T. They will trap all over. That time Highland Springs is ready for it.
This is Gaddy on the approach. And Highland Springs has his miss. Kirvell Alexander.
Beautiful attempt on that long pass, but Booker T had a hand in there.
And that one poked out of bounds will take us to the stoppage. It's been fast and furious at the outset. A tremendous matchup between Highland Springs and Booker T. Washington. And back and forth we go. Highland Springs hitting the transition three. A.J. Gaston gets himself going. First of two makes. And then Booker T. Washington responding on the other end to briefly take the lead back. But as we pause, it's the Springers by 1.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Springers with a 1-point advantage. Our first game of 2 tonight. Highland Springs and Booker T. Washington here on HRSN. Again, a reminder later on tonight, stay with us. We've got the Lansdowne Eagles and the John Marshall Justices. And Coach, that's going to be one heck of a matchup as we expect this to be.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking that far ahead, John. This right here, I'm excited with this game right here. But the next one, Marshall, wait to see the athletes they have. Lansdowne defensive pressure. And again, two great coaches in Ty White and Dwight Robinson.
Two great coaches here. George Lancaster, the legend, Hall of Famer. Darren Sanderlin. Pressure up top from the Springers. And they've got the Bookers a bit frazzled, and they've got the basketball. Springers take it away. Coming in Harris, and he finishes right side.
That pressure, again, the pressure on the 2-2-1 is designed to try to keep you on the outside. You got to beat it in the middle. If not, it's Trap City. You're going to be in trouble. Highland Springs not only can take the ball, they can convert it from layup.
This time the Bookers get it to the middle of the floor, break that press, and get it down low. That is Breon Gaddy, and he'll draw contact and get a pair.
Again, that's a big fella inside. You're not going to move him around out of the way, but key for that Highland Springs on that pressure, on that trap, is to keep it to the sideline.
Thanks for watching HRSN, the Hampton Roads Sports Network, on all of our many platforms, hrsn.tv, Cox 11, and HRSN on WTVR 6.3 in Richmond. HRSN bringing you the best college and high school sports. Well, I tell you, the Gaddy boys here, Ed, they are on different diet programs.
Like I said, big fella right here. He gets the second and thirds opportunities at the table a little bit more. He is a big-time football recruit.
Breon Gaddy, the twin brother of Brandon Gaddy. Brandon in the starting lineup, Breon off the bench. That's a long 2 won't go down, but the Springers an offensive board. Second chance, no. And they'll get a third.
Again, you give them too many opportunities, they're going to convert. You've got to finish that defensive possession all the way through, which means get the missed shot.
Highland Springs trying to cash in their third chance here. Na'Quon Trapp, the senior guard and orchestrator.
I always want to try to get that ball inside, but then again, shoot some threes.
That's up over top of the entire apparatus, and the Bookers will take over.
And one thing you see here is Highland Springs is trying to dent that Booker T zone, or man-to-man.
Take a look at Booker T Washington High School, founded back in 1911. Known at times as the Mighty Bookers, at times as the Fighting Bookers. Generally known as an extremely quality basketball program.
Strong tradition, very strong tradition in basketball.
They trail by a pair very early here, still in the first quarter. Feeding the big man, Breon Gaddy, and look at the soft touch.
That's what you got to do. He's open inside. He's hard to move off that block. And nimble, too. He's got great hands for a big fella, and he gets across. Lineman in football, but looks like he can move people.
Square after one quarter. As Coach Young highlighted, he is a big-time football recruit. His brother Brandon, not on the floor at the moment. Basketball interest being drawn.
And they're both only sophomores. So they're going to be around a couple more years.
Mid-range jumper will fall for Alexander.
Second leading scorer for those guys. He's tremendous at that elbow area, and that's where he got his jump shot ready for that foul line.
Really emerging as a senior. He had a vagabond basketball career. Played a year of JV, sat out a year, sat the bench last year, and stuffed on the approach that time was Lamont Palmer. No foul. That'll stay with the Bookers. Excellent block by Michael Sims.
Still filling out period here in this whole first quarter. John, they're just trying to get the ball where they think their big advantage is for Booker T. That's inside with Mr. Gaddy.
Booker T with under a minute to go in the quarter, and a disruptive play from Trapp. Keeping it alive, Jadon Jenkins. Up front, Gaddy. That one couldn't connect on, stays with the Bookers. Wild shot, no, another rebound, Gaddy, and one coming.
You know, it was a wild shot, but we'll see if they show this on a replay. He might say it was a pass to the big fella. Made it look like a shot so everybody would freeze.
Yeah, he's pointing over at our statistician saying that was a pass right there. Here it is again.
Yeah, here it is. Excellent ball movement by Booker T. And then the shot a little bit short, but I don't know, it might have been a pass. Big fella got it. And again, he does a great job of taking it to the other side of the basket.
Been impressed with the finesse and the moves of Breon Gaddy with that big frame down there thus far. He gives the Bookers the lead back.
Good ball movement by Booker T. You saw in that last replay. Really good ball movement.
Washington with the 1 point advantage. Highland Springs. No shot clock in high school basketball. They can take their time here if they'd like and hold for the last possession. Hold for the last shot, I should say.
And that's what they're looking at. You see Booker T's playing we call a sloughing man-to-man. They're not up on close. They don't want nothing down the middle. They want to keep everything in front of them. It's going to come down to probably a final shot.
Na'Quon Trapp taking it down close to 10 seconds. Now with 8 seconds, peering in from the right side is Gaston. Here he comes.
Taking the shot.
Passed it up. Sims didn't have a look. Now they'll have to force one. And that is all oxygen from the corner for Harris. So that's how we'll stay at the end of the first quarter. Booker T. Washington and Highland Springs, as Coach Ed Young pointed out, feeling each other out as our basketball coverage is underway here on HRSN.
The Cox Sports Report brings you high school sports action from across the region every week during the season. On Sports Report, see highlights from big games and rivalries, and hear from players, coaches, and experts. Watch for your team, see key matchups, and get a look at the stars of tomorrow. It's high school sports at its best. From the Cox studios and from fields and courts across the region, it's the Cox Sports Report, exclusively on Cox 11.
Today, school kids rely on the internet for so many things. Homework, math practice, research. But what about kids who don't have internet at home? I'm Dorothy McAuliffe, First Lady of Virginia. The internet has become essential. Up to 30% of families don't have access at home, including many right here in Virginia. So help bridge this gap by supporting local broadband adoption programs. Let's get more students and families connected to the power of the internet.
ready for the second quarter, as are the Highland Springs cheerleaders as they bring us back. Booker T. Washington with the basketball and a 1-point advantage. That's what's fun about this event. One of the many things, Coach, that's fun about this event. You see the feeling out process as we talked about through the first quarter.
Yeah, it was a good stat that just saw here with the bench scoring for Highland Springs. 6-0 over Booker T. Right now, Booker T doesn't need the scoring off the bench. They're going to need it to win the ball game. But, yeah, it is. Feeling out process. Two very even teams. And mistakes are the ones that are going to end up killing people.
Easy steal there for Trapp. A little more difficult on the approach. Second opportunity, no for Sims. Goes back up, and he's fouled by Lamont Palmer.
Again, the key there is a little sloppy on the offensive end for Booker T. Not really looking at the defense, not focused. They come down, and the other problem is giving up too many offensive rebounds.
There's George Lancaster, the Hall of Famer in the Virginia State High School League. Highland Springs High School, founded back in 1907. We spent some time on the phone with Coach Lancaster and Coach Ed Young. As you know, you can't help but come away from those conversations inspired. I was ready to run laps around my townhouse.
He is unbelievable. He quotes Bible, he quotes verses. He comes up with stuff, and you're right. I put the sneakers on and want to play for him too. Got enough assistant coaches to shake all those guys' hands. We could probably lose 4 pounds. I think he's got 8 assistant coaches over there.
Yep, we had to bring in some extra chairs, but we left that to HRSN's Matthew Hatfield. And that a dangerous pass taken away. Breon Gaddy gets it back, however. And numbers eventually arrive. Brandon Gaddy flew in wildly, and Highland Springs will duck that.
That's the other Gaddy coming in now. His brother finally on the floor getting some minutes, but a little out of control.
Springers launch from outside, and Sims connects.
That's a kid right there I think could be a real key in this game that we haven't mentioned about. He has been known to knock shots down like that, plays pretty heady under hot situations.
Largest lead of the night for either side is just 4 for the Springers. Both Gaddy brothers in there. Breon to Brandon. Springers able to disrupt him again, but Brandon persistently draws the foul.
Got to do that. Booker T can't. If they're going to stay in this ball game, number one, they got to stop throwing the ball away so much and make those second chance opportunities. As you see right here, putting it up, gets one. He brought it down. They try to collapse on him, then they reach. The thing you always get mad with the young fellas is stop reaching. Go hands straight up in the air. For law of verticality, you can go straight up in the air. But once you move your hands down, that's a foul.
4th team foul assessed to Highland Springs, and Coach Sanderlin wants an explanation and a sub, and he'll send back on Jeremiah Jenkins.
Gaddy there lost contact lens. You got to get that solution and put it back in.
So Gaddy's foul shots will go to Jeremiah Jenkins.
I tell you what, Jeremiah, there's no way this young fella is 5'10", and he can't be more than 12 years old. He is a youngster. He is an excitable, good-looking player.
Sophomore is Jenkins. Jenkins has that free throw taking over for Brandon Gaddy. Gaddy's over on the bench, applying some contact solution.
Booker's into their press. They have got to create some easy opportunities for themselves, just as Highland Springs has done earlier here.
And a trap didn't work, but made up for on the back end by Ingram, and that'll be a tie-up.
A little bit of a late call, but that is a jump ball. He got the hands up, put his hand on the ball. The offensive player came down with it. That's a jump ball. Possession stays with Highland Springs.
Springers will keep it, but Ingram did a nice job, Coach, bailing out that soft trap.
Exactly. Again, that's what they're doing. Here's a possible throwaway. Again, on that trap, Booker T's well known for that. If you beat that double team, you can get a layup.
Make sure to visit hrsn.tv anytime to watch tonight's games and all archived games on hrsn.tv. Click the Watch Now button, then select On Demand, all from HRSN, your Hampton Roads sports leader. Highland Springs by a pair. That's Chris Jackson off the bench.
Pressure coming, John. Here it is.
Na'Quon Trapp. Not about feeding it down to the post, they'll think better of it. Trapp just very composed and patient at the controls for the Springers.
What they're doing is trapping early in the possession, then they back off to keep the ball out of the middle, trying to change the pace a little bit in this game.
Nearly had A.J. Gaston corralled, but he got rid of it. And there's a block in the middle. Big block for Ingram. Now leading the break. Would have had numbers. And poked away by Gaston. 3 for Jenkins.
And the little fella gets his rebound. They didn't box him out. Great defense possession.
Able to track down that miss. Came right back towards him.
Once again, you got to box out. I don't care how small a kid is on the floor. You get a rebound, you don't keep him off the glass.
Opposite way off the screen. Proves to be the wrong route. Here come the Springers. 2-on-1 and taking it in. Gaston couldn't finish, and we'll get a whistle as tumbling down. Being helped up is Victroy Harris.
Unofficially, and counting in my head, and I know I've been wrong, John, but I think that's about the 5th turnover for Booker T. You see it here. Highland Springs coming in off the steal, and then it gets fouled on the rebound. Once again, Booker T allowing the Springers to get rebounds.
My apology, that was Kirvell Alexander, as you saw there, and it's Alexander at the foul line. Trailer coming back for Booker T, creating that contact.
The second leading scorer on the season for the Springers. I think he's around 11 a game. He's a leading rebounder, about 9 a game. Another good-looking athlete.
Pitches for the Highland Springs baseball team. And as I was mentioning, a bit of a voyage into the starting lineup. He played JV 1 year, then didn't come out for basketball his sophomore year. Was the 12th man off George Lancaster's bench last year. Played just sparing minutes, and now this year as a senior has made his way into the starting lineup.
Again, done a fine job with this team, too. This kid, again, decent athlete, one of those guys. I thought Simmons could be a key for him, but this is another guy. Here's the turnovers. I said Booker's had 5. They have 4. Highland Springs with 3.
And they'll have another, will Booker T here.
Yeah, so we're all even in that department. Key on turnovers, it's okay to have a turnover, John, but you can't let the other team score off it. That's where you get the real problem. Plus, when you turn it over, it's one less opportunity for your team to score.
George Lancaster there. His Springers lead by 3. Just under 5 to play in this half. And a missed assignment, but a missed bunny. Alexander couldn't finish.
He couldn't believe he was that wide open. That's why he missed it. He was so wide open, he was expecting to get hit, and he wasn't.
Booker's trying to take advantage. That's Ingram stuffed down low, but he goes back up.
Stayed with it. That's a fella that has to get hot for Booker T inside. He's the biggest kid on the floor in terms of height.
Disrupted there by the Bookers.
That's a 6'7" senior, Mr. Ingram is. He's got to use that lanky body inside. We talked about Gaddy earlier. He's got the big body, the wide body. Ingram goes from floor to ceiling.
1 point affair. That's Gaston, and that was pretty.
Again, got in a lane. A lot of things can happen when you get in a lane. He puts it in.
Again, that pressure in the backcourt from the Springers. Booker's had Ingram, an inadvertent kick. They'll deny him the ball.
You're going to beat pressure. You're going to have to hit middle, look weak side, try to get a layup off of it. The more you dribble, the more you go down the sideline, you're in trouble. This is on the replay here. Gaston inside, beautiful finger roll. We said a little bit old school
A new
player,
way to watch
and
sports
that's
in
what he
Hampton
was
Road.
on that drive.
Booker T with it, trailing by 3. Jenkins trying to knot us up. Back iron, but Ingram. The offensive board for Booker T. Washington. Brandon Gaddy swatted out of there. Fine defensive effort from Ronald Young.
Booker T getting ball movement. Good ball movement. They got to knock those shots down.
We'll come back. Highland Springs leading in this first half by 3, and they've got the basketball when we return.
This fall, a new way to watch sports in Hampton Roads emerges. A new way to follow your team. A new way to follow your passion. All in one place, wherever you are. On Cox Channels 11 and 1011 or Cox Channel 110. And always on your PC, phone, and tablet at hrsn.tv. Live games, game recaps, analysis, previews. If it happens in Hampton Roads, it happens here on HRSN.
Hey, Dad. I thought you'd be watching the game.
Well, Joan Bear, I wish I was, but the TV's in there and the lawnmower's in here. Life is about compromise. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Well, I can pull it up right here. We have the Cox bundle. Dad, if we have cake, we should eat it.
Get a Cox bundle for $89.99 a month now with double the speed. Add home security starting at $29.99 a month. Plus, ask how to get a $300 prepaid card.
Taking a look at the persistent bucket from Ezekiel Ingram. That brought Booker T. Washington with hit 3, and there's A.J. Gaston with that pretty make through the paint on the other end. Our first game of 2 tonight and game 4 of 5 from the VirginiaPreps.com Hoops Classic. A nice gathering all throughout the day here at Virginia Wesleyan College. Booker T will actually get it coming back out of that timeout. Last touch by the Springers. And the trap in the corner. We'll get it back for Highland Springs. Little shorts issue there for A.J. Gaston. Now watch that drawstring.
And I think we got a timeout to take care of those shorts.
We're going to get a timeout to sort out the uniform there of A.J. Gaston. And again, a 3-point game. And Coach, it's been the pressure both in the half court and in the full court for Highland Springs that has given them this slight advantage.
And the thing is, they're kind of even now on the turnovers, John, but I've got to believe Highland Springs has converted a number of their turnovers for points.
Look at that legendary resume right there. 47 years of coaching, inducted into the Hall of Fame 2013, and a couple of state titles. Second among active coaches behind only Jack Baker of Maury High School, and we're going to see Jack Baker's Maury team on Tuesday night here on HRS.
Legendary coach. Hey, George owes me a big thank you because I let him beat me 2007, the opening round of the states. Had we knocked them off, they wouldn't have won that title. So, George, you owe me a soda.
And you've got some recent history, actually, your Nansemond River team does with both these two teams, do you not?
Yeah, with Booker T, we've had some legendary battles with them. Only played the Highland Springs teams the one time, and it's a joy coaching against them. Not easy to coach against them, but I enjoy it because they're competitors. You got to be ready.
And this time it's the Booker's pressure up near half court that leads to a turnover.
And now here's where Booker T has to take those turnovers and score on them.
Jeremiah Jenkins, number 2, avoids that trap with the help of his brother Jadon. Ingram being swarmed, got it back to Jeremiah Jenkins. Can't get it from way downtown again. Another offensive board. Stick back no from Brandon Gaddy, and this time it's the Bookers with 3 chances.
You got to put them in. You got to keep them off the glass. If they're Springers, the second chance will get to you.
Carter Dupree's wild attempt wouldn't go down, but Booker T
also
keeps it again.
Has gone with a taller point guard there. Dupree playing out there in front. He can see over that press a little bit better than the Jenkins boys, and of course the Jenkins boys can knock those shots down on the wing.
Jenkins boys both listed at 5'10" to Ed's point. Meanwhile, Carter Dupree's 6'3". 3 guards on the floor. Carter Dupree on the attack. Lost the handle, but the Bookers keep it.
A little bit out of control coming down the lane. Didn't really have it as he went up. Field goal percentage, we're looking at Booker T shooting 33%. Highland Springs 44. Not great shooting, but right now Highland Springs shooting better than Booker T.
Still the 3-point lead for Highland Springs after a fast and furious start offensively. We've settled in quite a bit here in the second quarter.
Yeah, you're looking at a situation now where Highland Springs is able to knock down layups.
5-on-1 for the Springers, but standing tall is Brandon Gaddy.
We have that feeling out process that's long done now. These teams don't really know what they're trying to do. Highland Springs converting on layups.
This is called the herd approach.
That coming right at them, right at Booker T. They didn't really have the handles there, but they have converted more layups than Booker T. That's why their percentage is a little bit higher.
Highland Springs will inbound. Get it to a good position, but Ingram blocked that shot. It'll lead to a travel, and we'll head the other way.
Yeah,
Booker's in control.
And Coach Fraterni, we call that testing a backboard. The young fella shot it up, didn't hit anything but backboard. It's solid, young man. It's gonna, you gotta hit it off the side of the little square and knock it in.
Making it ring, that's what we used to call it. A little discombobulated both ends over the last couple of moments. Don Jenkins to Jeremiah Jenkins.
And again, Booker T has to handle this pressure by Highland Springs. They're taking more jump shots than Highland Springs. Highland Springs getting layups.
Jeremiah Jenkins guilty of shoving, trying to pick up the miss from his brother Jadon.
Good ball movement. Decent jump shot, just didn't go down.
You could see clear as day the shove there from Jeremiah Jenkins, and little complaint.
Yeah, you got a guy that small knocking somebody bigger out of the way. Sometimes that's the best way to get rebounds.
Closing in on 2 minutes to play in this first half. 3-point affair favors Highland Springs.
They're looking to get the drives into the lane. You can see that. That's why Booker T playing off a little bit to keep them out of the lane.
Gaston getting some help up high from Keith Robinson off the Springers bench. That's Chris Jackson. No good, but the tap is there for Alexander.
Beautiful, beautiful tap out. Once again, you teach it. When a shot goes up, you got to put a hand or arm on a body to keep him off the glass. That was a great left-hand tap in by Alexander.
Lamont Palmer helping the Jenkins bring it to the front court. Gaddy sliding in. Ingram fighting for that miss, and on the tie-up, Booker T will keep it.
Good. You'll see on this replay. Shot goes up. Alexander coming from the wing, untouched. Beautiful left hand and nice body control, tip it in. Elementary basketball, box out when a shot goes up.
That's exactly what I was thinking, body control.
There is the ever-energetic Darren Sandlin, sweating as much as the players are right now.
His Booker's
another
down by
turnover.
5, and they cough it up, and they'll foul. Breon Gaddy got a piece of Jawan Toon, and Toon will head to the foul line.
Again, they try to pass the ball outward. Yeah, you'll see it as they come out, drive to the hole. Again, had you backed off Booker T, I think the youngster would have lost that ball on the way up, but he got a little bump, so Toon going to knock it down at the free throw line.
Toon showed no fear there, listed at just 5'7", going in against the big-bodied football stud Breon Gaddy.
And see, you're making free throws here, John. This comes off those turnovers. They didn't make the layup, but if he makes both these free throws, it's the same thing as making a layup. Stop turning the ball over.
6 of one, half dozen of the other. 2 of one, pair of the other. And it's a 7-point lead as he does get the second. That's the largest advantage for either side. Highland Springs will pressure in the backcourt once more. Toon making life difficult for Gaddy, and Gaddy showing some frustration as he misfires in the direction of Catrell Cuffey.
That's an unforced turnover. Big fella jumped for the pass. Really didn't have to do that. Stay under control. Bad enough that we get a forced turnover, but we call that the unforced turnover.
Just over a minute remaining in this first half. Highland Springs trying to expand their largest lead of the night. They won't do so. Alexander misfires. And with a split the double, Lamont Palmer weaving his way through traffic, finds Breon Gaddy, tried to stuff it and couldn't do it.
I think he wanted to stuff it, wasn't sure, and he got caught in between, laying it off the glass in a dunk.
Could have been a big swing there, but the short corner closed for Harris. Transition, and Gaddy another chance, so this time he'll go with the soft touch.
And that's the way to do it. Put it off the glass. Don't worry about smashing it through the rim. Put it off the glass.
Booker T back within 5. Gaston off the mark. Offensive board for the Springers and a foul. Michael Lamel off the Booker T bench, guilty.
Once again, in that situation on the foul, we had another guy flying in for the tip. Now, he didn't tip it in, but he tipped it to keep it live. And then we have, was this Lavelle?
Actually charged that foul to Brandon Gaddy. That'll send Jackson to the line, senior forward.
He got the tip. That's why he's at the foul line. His teammate ran in there. Nobody boxed him out. He got a tip off that glass. Things I'm sure Darren will go over, Coach Sandlin will go over at halftime. Got to box out, take better care of that basketball.
Booker T, coach, has had some good looks from outside as well. They haven't knocked many of them down.
And it's a team that does shoot threes.
Gaddy gives it up. Toon. No. Ingram has it. Crowded by gold shirts and eventually fouled.
I think Ingram that time a little frustrated about losing the basketball earlier. He came in there and demanded that rebound, and he got it.
Ezekiel Ingram. And there have been times where he's used his length in this first half. As you pointed out, he's the tallest player on either roster.
He's got to be more active on the glass. You know, I guess the coaching coming at him, you got to get on him. Light that fire, son. You can dominate on this glass. I mean, Highland Springs athletic. They're going to be around him. They're going to challenge him. But he's got to be on the glass more than what he's showing.
6-point affair. Booker T again faces that pressure. They've gone to Lamont Palmer off the bench to try to beat the pressure, and he does. Barely get it across. Up ahead, there's Ingram.
That's what we got to do to get this close at halftime.
Final seconds. They get a good shot off to the Springers, but Trapp couldn't hit it, and that'll beat all for the first half. As Booker T closes to within 4. The largest lead for either side was Highland Springs by 7, but the Bookers right back in there. Halftime coverage is up next on HRSN, including Matt Hatfield's Public School Top 10.
The best games, the best teams, the best athletes, the best coaches. The best coverage, all in one place. Wherever you are, it only happens on HRSN.TV. This is where we're from. This is what we're about. This is who we are. This is what we train for. This is our house. This is for us. Hampton Road Sports Network.
Four-point advantage for Highland Springs at the break. John Laaser alongside Coach Ed Young. And, Coach, your thoughts on that first half?
You know, it's close. We're looking at a 27-23 lead by the Springers. A lot of feeling out. What I see here is Booker T's got to handle Highland Springs' pressure. Stop turning it over. Highland Springs getting layups. That's the difference in the ball game right now. A couple layups, on turnovers, free throws. They got to handle the pressure. Got to do a better job rebounding, keeping the Springers off the glass.
Halftime coverage here on HRSN, and a special feature on the other side. Matthew Hatfield and the Public School Top 10 is next.
Today, school kids rely on the internet for so many things. Homework, math practice, research. But what about kids who don't have internet at home? I'm Dorothy McAuliffe, First Lady of Virginia. The internet has become essential. Up to 30% of families don't have access at home, including many right here in Virginia. So help bridge this gap by supporting local broadband adoption programs. Let's get more students and families connected to the power of the internet.
Buffering. I will switch to Cox because Cox just doubled its internet speeds. I will be master of all things streaming.
You're standing on the library.
Oh, sorry. I will invite friends over to watch a plethora of sporting events simultaneously. I will be man.
Don't forget to take out the garbage.
I will take out the garbage.
Cox is doubling internet speeds on our most popular packages for seamless streaming on more devices. Prices are only $19.99 a month. Call and switch today.
Having someone's back. It's about being there when you're needed.
It's about standing up for those you believe in.
In the military, got your six means I've got your back.
Today, it's more than a term.
It's a way to bring veterans and civilians together.
It's a show of respect for all who served, and a way to ensure that they return home to be seen as assets and leaders.
I've got your six.
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 To find out how you can help, visit gotyoursix.org today.
HRSN's coverage of the VirginiaPreps.com Hoops Classic continues. We have corralled the organizer and HRSN's own Matt Hatfield. And Matt, we figured what better time than now to unveil a feature here on HRSN. It is our public school top 10. We're going to let you get it started in just a second, but you'll notice a theme, 10 through 6. A number of these teams appearing in this event.
We try to bring the best of the best in the Virginia Preps Classic, and so far we've been very fortunate to have the premier teams around the state.
Without further ado, your number 10 team public school-wise.
The Wakefield Warriors out of Arlington, they've been to the state tournament Final Four each of the last 2 years. Coach Tony Bentley has a very disciplined squad that can play well in transition, which we've seen here throughout the day. Dominic Tham, the big fella, is a real threat blocking shots and rebounding. They'll be hard to beat come playoff time again if they're knocking down perimeter shots, which is really the barometer to see how far they can go.
Next team up is a team that we're watching right now.
Booker T. Washington, the Bookers, how great have they been? 6 straight wins coming into this matchup with Highland Springs, much anticipated. Darren Centerland's teams play hard with passion, fire, and desire. They're a team that has height and also guards that are developing. I don't think we'll see their best basketball until about February, and that's the time you want to be peaking.
And the rest of that first 5.
You look at Westfield, number 8. To me, a little bit of a surprise. They got Tyler Scanlon, a 2-sport athlete from Paul to 6 to transfer in, and he looked mighty great in the Bulldog Bash tournament, which they just recently won over Middleburg Academy. They have a nice mixture of about 3 or 4 guys that can score for them. Remind me a lot of last year's Colonial Forge team that won a 6A state championship, so they have the recipe to get it done.
Now let's look at that top 5. This is the HRSN Public School Top 10 with Matt Hatfield.
Really, once you get to 7 through 3, John, with the Highland Springs at 7, GW Danville at 6, Green Run at 5, they're all interchangeable, all very athletic, fluid teams. Get up and down in transition, and also play defense in the half court in the fourth quarter. Green Run's a team to watch out for a couple of years because no seniors in their starting five.
And that top four, you'll see another team in this event from the Richmond area, Henrico.
Vance Harmon's Henrico squad, John, has made it to the state championship each of the last 2 years, beating John Marshall 2 seasons ago for the title, losing to Potomac last year. DeMonte Buckingham, the junior, saw him here today. He's a top 150 junior in the country. He's the guy that makes them go, but they also have 2 other scholarship players in Ryan Pearson and Walter Williams on the perimeter.
Top 3 now, and again, 2 of the teams appearing in this event.
You got to put Colonial Forge just ahead of Henrico because they beat them by 1 in the Henrico Holiday Hoops Championship at Glen Allen. 6'4" senior Marco Haskins, the reigning 6A state player of the year. Great inside-outside combination with him and Winston Burgess, the 6'6" center. They can get it done.
There it is, your HRSN inaugural edition of the Public School Top 10 featuring number 1 LC Bird. And speaking of LC Bird, HRSN's high school coverage just revving up. Next weekend, in fact, what a ballyhoot shootout we have. LC Bird taking on Cape Henry. And just a hint, we might use that as an opportunity to give you the private school Top 10. This is HRSN's coverage of the VirginiaPreps.com Hoops Classic, and we continue at the half right after this.
The Cox Sports Report brings you high school sports action from across the region every week during the season. On Sports Report, see highlights from big games and rivalries, and hear from players, coaches, and experts. Watch for your team, see key matchups, and get a look at the stars of tomorrow. It's high school sports at its best. From the Cox studios and from fields and courts across the region, it's the Cox Sports Report, exclusively on Cox 11.
My husband and I really wanted to get a home security system. When our son was getting big enough to actually open doors, we wanted the comfort of knowing where he was in our home at all times. My favorite feature of Cox Home Security is the live video feed. I get to check on my family wherever without disturbing them. When nights that I work late, it is very comforting to be able to pick up my phone and see that my son is sleeping soundly in his bed. We thought we were getting some cameras and an alarm system, and what we ended up with was peace of mind.
The best games, the best teams, the best athletes, the best coaches, the best coverage, all in one place. Wherever you are, it only happens on HRSN.TV. This is where we're from. This is what we're about. This is who we are. This is what we train for. This is our house. This is for us. Hampton Road Sports Network.
4-point lead at the half for Highland Springs in a game that's been tied on 4 separate occasions. Springers have had as much as a 7-point lead, and here come some highlights from the first half. For Booker T. Washington, coach Ezekiel Ingram has been impactful thus far.
When he steps it up like he did right here, coming right through the lane, he's a hard guy to stop. 6'7", gets up in the air quick.
We continue on the Booker T. Washington side of things as we look back at the first half. And again, that's Ingram, and you mentioned he's got to be involved. He's the biggest guy on the floor.
He's got to stay involved. He's hard to guard. One thing about Booker T, again, is they moved the basketball, which they did very well in the first half. Here's Ingram on his third one. He keeps doing that. Booker T gets his lead soon enough.
We saw some excellent pressure defense from Highland Springs in that first half, trapping in the corner there in the half court. We also saw it in transition.
8 steals, 10 turnovers. Booker T, 10 turnovers, which led to 9 Springer points. There's your big difference.
Booker T. Washington also using their pressure out near mid-floor there to force a turnover of Highland Springs. But you got the Stars involved in this game after Ingram announces himself on the defensive end. But Gaston, A.J. Gaston, as you can see, begins the creation for Highland Springs.
Hard guy to stop. He's their main guy. He's the glue guy. When things look like they're crazy, he calms down.
And it was A.J. Gaston in that first half with 7 points. And that time finds Kirvell Alexander. Alexander also involved in that first half for Highland Springs. And the Springers lead by 4 at the half. Take a look at some first half stats here on HRSN. And again, you mentioned those turnovers, certainly part of the story, as doubling up is Highland Springs defensively.
Yeah, well, you look at the turnover, I mean, look at all the stats. Field goal percentage odds, kind of a wash. 3-point is bigger advantage over there for Highland Springs. Rebound, it goes back to Booker T. The key is the turnovers, because Booker T's 10 turnovers, Highland Springs has converted into 9 points. They've got a 4-point lead. You cut those in half, we got a tie game or a Booker T lead. That is the key statistic.
What do we do here on HRSN? We go a little bit further into the box score. Points off turnovers. You highlighted that a number of times, Coach.
Yeah, I got it. I think I was guessing, but look, I was right on. Okay, I get an extra soda for that one. Points in the paint, again, neither team is overly huge, but I think Booker T has that advantage in the paint, but Highland Springs has most points because it's layups. Layups off turnovers, you count those as points in the paint. And then second chance points, kind of a wash. Fast break points, kind of a wash. Bench points, Highland Springs coming out there with the 8. It's the turnovers that are killing the Bookers.
The bench points certainly favoring there. You see Highland Springs, they lead at the half. 27-23 is our halftime score. Second half action straight ahead here at the Hoops Classic.
Buffering. I will switch to Cox because Cox just doubled its internet speeds. I will be master of all things streaming.
You're standing on the library.
Oh, sorry. I will invite friends over to watch a plethora of sporting events simultaneously.
I will be man.
Don't forget to take out the garbage.
I will take out the garbage.
Cox is doubling internet speeds on our most popular packages for seamless streaming on more devices. Prices are only $19.99 a month. Call and switch today.
The best games, the best teams, the best athletes, the best coaches, the best coverage, all in one place. Wherever you are, it only happens on HRSN.TV. This is where we're from. This is what we're about. This is who we are. This is what we train for. This is our house. This is for us. Hampton Road Sports Network.
Ready for the second half. Darren Sanderlin, you see there, of Booker T. Washington. And, Coach, what adjustments did he draw up for the Bookers?
I got to believe at halftime he had to mention about turnovers. Stop doing so many of them. And if we are going to give it up, get back and defend it so they don't get easy buckets. But one thing I know about Darren, he doesn't wallow in the past. It's what's ahead in the future. I predict Booker T will not only tie this game but take a lead at some point in this second half.
There it is, a prediction from Coach Ed Young. Again, John Laaser, pleased to be joined by the coach from Nansemond River. We've got 2 games for you tonight. Great ball movement to Alexander.
And it ends with one of my favorite plays, a high-low. You get the ball to high post, draw the defense up, open inside, throw to him, layup.
Booker T altering their personnel a bit. One Gaddy for the others. Breon Gaddy will start this second half. See the big fella down there in the trenches. Another turnover for the Bookers. Tried the lob there, didn't work out, but the secondary plan is there. Contingency from Alexander.
I hate to say it, a broken record. Turnover led to a layup. There it is again.
Highland Springs stretching it out. Ingram comes in. Gaddy, the offensive board, and a much-needed bucket, plus the foul.
I think that's why you see him in here in the second half, John, is get that muscle inside, rebound it.
Breon Gaddy off the bench leads all scorers with 10 now. And he'll go to the line.
Yeah, again, beautiful. Came in for the offensive rebound, position himself right in the middle of the lane. That way he can get the rebound no matter where it goes, because you're not moving him. He's going to take 2 bodies to move this youngster.
Again, Breon Gaddy not in the starting lineup for this game. His brother Brandon, his twin brother, is. And Breon Gaddy will stay on 10. The lead will remain 6.
Good ball movement by Highland Springs.
Yeah, definitely moving it nicely, but a travel here as Victroy Harris hits the deck.
Yeah, he went up with the basketball, and in this game, if you go up with a ball in your hands, you either have to shoot it or pass it. You can't bring it back to the floor without getting rid of it, and you can't pass to yourself. That's a travel.
Inside the rule book.
Inside the rule book. As coach, you've got to know it. As every once in a while I have discussions with referees. Not arguments, discussions.
And Booker T with another turnover. Foot on the sideline there.
Got to stop the turnovers. That's an unforced one. Again, if they get a stop here, okay, it's a wash. But if not, keep digging that hole.
That's the 12th turnover tonight for the Bookers. They had 10 at the half and already 2 in a little more than a minute of play in the second half.
Highland Springs being very deliberate on this offense right here. They're trying to pull Booker T out, take him away from trap situations.
Trying to create for Gaston. Gaddy recovered. Jeremiah Jenkins will come out of the herd. Booker T attacks.
Tough shot to make that floater, one-hand floater in the lane. You really got to be on.
And Alexander flying in. And he hit the windshield.
Now the problem there is he came in out of control, put it up on the glass because you never know. Booker T knocked it out of bounds.
For all the latest updates, news, and live game schedules, follow HRSN on Twitter at HRSN TV. And be sure to like us on Facebook as well. Off the inbounds, another easy one. This one for Gaston.
Right down the middle on that one.
DJ Gaston, 9 points thus far. Leading scorer for the Springers. Ian Kirvell Alexander.
Not to start Darren, because Coach Sandlin wanted here in this third quarter. They got to be more precise with the basketball, as they are doing now. They're setting it up now.
Mentioned the potential adjustments that Booker T would make as slicing right through is Carter Dupree. But Highland Springs making some nice adjustments as well.
Well, the key thing there at halftime is you want to keep doing what got you the lead. Pressure as need be, convert them.
Gaston didn't want the shot, likes that view better. Offensive board for Harris, finally cleaned up by Ingram. 3 on 2, Jenkins didn't want to use it. Long contested 3. Breon Gaddy, another lay-in.
That time, young Jenkins waited for his people to get there, but when you take the 3, it's a longer rebound. It's harder to get.
That's like being seated at the closest table to the buffet for Breon Gaddy right there.
He's going up there. That ball looks like a big burger for him up there.
Suddenly a run for the Bookers. Jenkins cannot add to it. And a tie-up, Ingram and Michael Sims for Highland Springs, but the Bookers will keep it.
Beautiful drive by Carter Dupree, right down the middle, protected. A little flim-flam at the end of there. Little Patriot, they always call that on the shot. And knocks it down.
4:58 remaining here in this third quarter, and as you predicted, Coach Booker T tightening things up a touch.
Again, be patient on the offense, take it to the hole.
And they'll continue that run, or try to, on the other side. They're out of the side of this timeout, as Booker T. Washington has that called timeout with 4:58 remaining. And again, it's a game of adjustments. We always talk about that, and you can definitely see the adjustments that both coaches are trying to implement here.
Well, again, you either adjust as to what they're doing or you change your personnel. One of the personnel changes for Coach Sandlin and Booker T. One Gaddy out, the other one in. More inside to get rebounds. That's what they need, is to pick up some of those missed shots.
And the other Gaddy will come back. Brandon Gaddy will be part of the personnel package that emerges out of the timeout. Meanwhile, Breon Gaddy will take a breather. Booker T. Washington fell behind by as many as 8. They've trimmed it to 4. That's Brandon Gaddy for 3. And all oxygen. Springers basketball.
You know, I'm not sure that's an inbound play. That's what you want, is get that deep 3. Didn't really look like they're ready for it. But he's done it before. Go ahead and try it again.
That's the second 3 that's been tried by Brandon Gaddy. He's missed them both. Here's Michael Sims from outside. And Sims, off his own miss, will draw the foul.
Again, nice outside shot by him. But again, nobody touched him on the defense. We'll see this. He gets a rebound as he comes on in untouched. And he gets touched too late for the foul. One of the things we teach in basketball, when a shot goes up, everybody's responsible for boxing somebody out so you can get the rebound, not the other team.
Michael Sims, his 6th point tonight. The foul was on Ezekiel Ingram, and Ingram will come off in favor of Breon Gaddy. Also returning for Booker T. Washington is Lamont Palmer, who did a nice job breaking the pressure in the first half.
Again, they got to get them bodies in there too. It's not a real fast-paced game, but it's a type of game where you want, if you can keep getting the fresh bodies in there, more things get done.
Saw Ingram coming off, and with good reason. That is 3rd foul. So Booker T. Washington will potentially need to steal some minutes here. Jeremiah Jenkins hasn't been able to find the stroke from outside tonight.
Now, he was 1 for 6 at halftime total, 1 for 5. 5 of those 6 shots were from 3. Just hasn't been able to knock him down.
And he's had 2 games this year, Coach, where he was perfect from outside, 5 of 5 and 6 of 6.
Just not finding the stroke yet, but then like somebody once told me, you can't score unless you shoot.
Still just in the 3rd quarter, and without those contributions from Jeremiah Jenkins, Booker T. Washington doing a nice job hanging in here.
And the 3 fouls on Ingram will hurt, because I doubt we'll see that youngster the rest of the quarter. Probably going to save him for that 4th period, because you pick up that 4th now, you're in trouble.
Use the term stealing minutes. They'll do it first down low with Breon Gaddy. Walking through the middle is Palmer. Could not finish, and Highland Springs pulls it out of there. Troy Harris. That one poked out of bounds by Gaddy. Highland Springs will possess the basketball when we come back as the Springers lead by 6.
I will switch to Cox because Cox just doubled its internet speeds. I will be master of all things streaming.
You're standing on the library.
Oh, sorry. I will invite friends over to watch a plethora of sporting events simultaneously.
I will be man.
Don't forget to take out the garbage.
I will take out the garbage.
Cox is doubling internet speeds on our most popular packages for seamless streaming on more devices. Prices are only $19.99 a month. Call and switch today.
The best games, the best teams, the best athletes, the best coaches, the best coverage, all in one place. Wherever you are, it only happens on HRSN.TV. This is where we're from. This is what we're about. This is who we are. This is what we train for. This is our house. This is for us. Hampton Road Sports Network.
6-point advantage for Highland Springs, and Kirvell Alexander with the first couple of buckets of this third quarter. Breon Gaddy leads all scorers for Booker T. Washington. And Coach Young, as I just mentioned, Booker T. Washington hanging in, down just 6 without those perimeter makes from Jeremiah Jenkins or really from anyone else.
Right, and again, it's getting some offensive glass, getting second chance opportunities, put them down. Got to stay close. Highland Springs will not give up big leads.
Springers cheerleaders there. Both schools have traveled nicely here to this event. The Fish Tank, as it's known, at Virginia Wesleyan College.
And both these schools have excellent cheer squads that have won numerous awards in the past. High, energetic young ladies.
Festive environment here.
And we got the Highland Springs going to a 1-4 set. Normally when we do this, we look for something on the wing into a high post situation, possibly that high-low duck in.
Gaston on the give, then he's cycled down low. That's Gaston emerging on the wing right side. Nothing there. Booker T. Washington doing a nice job defensively in this half-court set.
And field goal percentage is 34-32. Again, it's kind of a wash. They're equaling each other out. It's just those second chance opportunities is what really gets either team going.
Dump it down to Sims. And Gaddy's got the miss. Breon Gaddy.
That's why he's in there. Pick up those missed shots.
Feature Gaddy, and Gaddy finding position once more.
That will get him back in the ball game real quick. He takes up a lot of space. Try to isolate inside one-on-one, get him on your back, laid up off the glass.
Breon Gaddy has 12 to lead the Bookers. They're back within 4.
Again, Highland Springs trying to pull out Booker T. And
driving down left side, Trapp. Trapp responds.
And they did with that layup. They, again, try to skip Booker T to come out, to open up the middle. They dropped that layup in.
Gaddy actually with 14 points now in that latest bucket, along with 7 boards. Make it 16, again owning the block.
Feed me more, I got to believe he's saying. He gave a yell as he came out of there. Getting him the ball inside, that'll keep him there.
They're just featuring Breon Gaddy. Breon does not generally start for the Bookers, did not tonight, but he did start this second half.
Again, if they can do more of that, that's going to be. The adjustment Highland Springs will be, if they keep ISO and him inside, they're going to probably send weak side help. So when he catches it, he's going to have to beat 2 people instead of 1.
Gaddy's got 10 points already in this third quarter alone, Coach.
Again, without him, because Ingram with 3 fouls sitting on a bench, we're not going to see him for a bit.
A.J. Gaston's been quiet, meanwhile, in this quarter, and he has it stripped away by Jadon Jenkins. As we take a look at Darren Sanderlin, becoming a legend in his own right, and he was a legendary player at Norfolk State University. Won a title there. He's won a title as a player and as a coach. Something very few can say.
Still got that intense look. Or give me a uniform. Only problem is, Darren, you got to shave the beard. You can't let you play with the big beard.
That's the only problem.
You got to shave. Can't play for me with hair, facial hair. You got to shave.
There's Gaston, quiet no more.
Now he's going to, again, that's their leader. You need somebody to re-energize everything. That's the guy, Gaston, for Highland Springs.
Seen Booker T. Washington, Coach, seem to mount a spurt, but Highland Springs has done a nice job quelling that on 2 occasions. Jadon Jenkins, still a lid. But another rebound for Breon Gaddy. Look at that move.
Ooh, big
tumbled
fella.
out.
Little spin action. Little spin action was nice. got the rebound further from the bucket. I tell you what, he knows what to do with the ball in his hand. Earlier in the possession, he got it too far out. He kicked it weak side. He just didn't drop the three.
Both Gaddies out there. Breon gets the inbound, and the foul comes for Highland Springs. Booker T, coach, doing a nice job without Ingram on the floor.
Yeah, John, what I was going to say, that was almost an excuse me inbound. It looked like Breon was going to go screen for somebody. He happened to see the opening in the lane, grabbed it, went right down, got fouled.
Saw Brandon Gaddy out on the wing hollering for the ball. Didn't find him, but Breon Gaddy back to the foul line.
Breon telling, I'm not sure which one is older, who came out first. He might told a young brother there, no, I'm keeping this one. I'm going inside. 16 points, 8 rebounds. You can see why.
Closing in on a double-double tonight is Breon Gaddy.
Plus, Breon blocked all year for Brandon. Brandon's the quarterback. The big fellow at quarterback. Breon is on that line, so this time he's taking care of the ball.
Gotta protect your siblings, certainly. Gaddy misses a pair at the foul line. And a reach-around foul there on Carter Dupree. Carter Dupree trying that back slap there.
Hate to see that as coach. Play defense in front of people. Keep the ball in front. Push the ball to the sideline, or we like to try to push the ball to the weak hand side of most players.
Under a minute to go now in this third quarter. Highland Springs led by 4 at the half. They lead by 6 now. It's their star, A.J. Gaston. Gives it up this time, and knocking it down is Victroy Harris.
Penetration, the defense all went into the lane. Foul line wide open. That's where he caught it and put it down.
Highland Springs matching their largest advantage of the night. Gaddy into the corner. Cottrell, Cuffey. Still nothing from outside for the Bookers, but another offensive board. Palmer got out of control and the acrobatic finish.
John, I ain't seen a shot like that since you were playing in the noon time with the fellas from work, and you threw up one of those that went in too.
That was mine in the church league right there. Michael Sims, no. And Booker T will get off a desperation heave, and the magic runs out there. But the last bucket of the quarter belongs to Booker T. Washington. We re-rack it here at the end of the quarter. We'll look at it when we come back. Highland Springs 41, Booker T. Washington 35. Fourth quarter next.
This fall, a new way to watch sports in Hampton Roads emerges. A new way to follow your team. A new way to follow your passion. All in one place, wherever you are. On Cox Channels 11 and 1011 or Cox Channel 110. And always on your PC, phone, and tablet at hrsn.tv. Live games, game recaps, analysis, previews. If it happens in Hampton Roads, it happens here on HRSN.
The Cox Sports Report brings you high school sports action from across the region every week during the season. On Sports Report, see highlights from big games and rivalries, and hear from players, coaches, and experts. Watch for your team, see key matchups, and get a look at the stars of tomorrow. It's high school sports at its best. From the Cox studios and from fields and courts across the region, it's the Cox Sports Report, exclusively on Cox 11.
Live high school basketball action returns to HRSN next week. Join us this Tuesday, January 6th at 7 o'clock when the Norview Pilots battle the Commodores of Maury High School, live at 7 on HRSN on Cox 11 and always on HRSN.TV. Check out HRSN.TV for the full game schedule, all from HRSN, your Hampton Roads sports leader. Ready for the fourth quarter. Highland Springs able to add 2 to their halftime lead. Their advantage stands at 6, opening this final quarter.
Booker T got to really buckle down. He got 8 minutes. 8 minutes. Stop turning the ball over, get it back inside. 14-6 in the turnovers. And again, majority of those turnovers by Booker T turn into baskets by Highland Springs.
Coach Darren Sanderlin not bringing back Ezekiel Ingram to begin this quarter. He'll wait on pushing that button for now. Michael Sims. And it spin out, and he emerges to finish off what he started.
Yeah, that's again, you've got to keep him off the glass. Got to keep him off the glass when you get back in this.
Lamont Palmer weaving, leaving it behind for Brandon Gaddy and a foul.
Now here's the other challenge, John. If you're going to get back in the game, get the clock stopped, make free throws. Drive it, dish it, keep it till you get fouled. Now go to the foul line, big fella. If you knock free throws, that's how you get back in the game because the clock's not running. But you got to make them.
Brandon Gaddy, 4 points and 4 boards tonight, and he'll get the first. And again, that's how you erase a deficit. Clock stopped at 7:16 to play.
As I said, Highland Springs is not going to just blow this game. It's going to be Booker T having to buckle down and get back best way they can. And stop the turnovers. That's going to also be a big thing. I know it sounds like a broken record, but everybody can see it. It's turnovers killing them.
E.J. Gaston.
High screen, pick and roll screen.
And Booker T read that nicely, and it'll lead
Beautiful.
to a break. Beautiful up front indeed, but no finish. Michael Lamel went flying. Here come the Springers. They had numbers. Short corner down for Harris.
Big thing in this one. That Booker T beautiful on the play, but couldn't finish at the hole, and Highland Springs did.
And a late whistle here will bail out Carter Dupree.
Yeah, I tell you, that was late. But Mr. Lancaster, I'm looking at him across the bench right now. He's got one leg folded, hands over his eyes. I don't know if he's hoping to hurry up, get out of here, or he said to the referees, we're not in Richmond.
But you did see plenty of contact down low there on Carter Dupree as he came in. He'll get 2 at the line.
It was a good call. Referees just wanted to make sure. They didn't want to blow the whistle too early. They want to make sure of the call.
Carter Dupree trying to dig into that largest advantage of the night, which is where it was at 9. Breon Gaddy will come back. He's led the way for Booker T tonight. It was Brandon Gaddy who was the MVP of the Scope Holiday Tournament, but really the starters in terms of scoring have been quiet for the most part for the Bookers.
And then the other thing is, too, is Coach Sandler's got to make a decision is when does he come back with Mr. Ingram? 3 fouls, 6:30 to go, you're down 7. A lot of decision making on that Booker T bench.
As a coach, do you have a number on the clock in mind or a number maybe in terms of the deficit?
Well, my thing is, personally, me right now, he'd be in the game. But all coaches have different mindset.
Brandon Gaddy for 3. Still not there. His brother the rebound. Brother another rebound. Make it a double-double, but no bucket.
Put his head down, couldn't get lift on that shot. That's exactly what happened there. Here comes Highland Springs the other way.
And a wondrous finish from Alexander.
That's beautiful reverse. Oh, I got to hand it to Highland Springs on that. They stayed with it on the missed rebounds at the other end, came down with it. Beautiful cross the lane, reverse layup.
Kind of a microcosm of our game thus far for Booker T. Washington. And here's the reverse from Gaddy.
That's what they got to do. Attack glass, keep the ball in front of you on defense if you're going to get back into it.
Still 5.5 to play.
3 points
to 7 for Booker T.
And John, sorry to interrupt you, but a 3-point land is not helping Booker T right now. It's a quick way to get back in the game, but not now.
Haven't hit one in this second half, to Coach Ed Young's point. Here comes Highland Springs. Look at that pass through the lane, and the benefactor is Harris.
Yeah, that's beautiful penetration. Draw the defense up. There's Highland Springs inside. He's kicking it. That one really hurts. That one really hurts. Me personally, I'd probably have a timeout. I got to get Mr. Ingram in there.
Great vision through the lane. Having trouble in the lane, Carter Dupree. Got it back, lost the handle, and the Springers take it away. Trying the home run was Sims. Back to get it, Booker T. Cottrell Cuffey, and there is your timeout, Coach. As Darren Sandelin recognized his team was getting a bit out of control as they trail by 9. They'll huddle up and talk it over. Virginia Preps Basketball Classic returns to HRSN next Saturday, January 10th. 2 great matchups. 7 o'clock game, Colonial Forge against Norcom, and that can be seen exclusively on hrsn.tv. And then at 9, tune in to Cox 11 and WTVR Richmond's channel 6.3 for live coverage of the much-anticipated LC Bird versus Cape Henry Collegian game. HRSN brings you the best in Hampton Road sports, and now Richmond High School sports as well, all from HRSN and HRSN.tv. And you want to talk about a game, Coach, that we'll have as we look at the matchup that we have starting us off tonight. And the vision leading to the reverse, and vision has certainly been on display for Highland Springs.
Get in the lane, you create a lot of opportunities. Draw the defense up, he dished it beautifully. Reverse layup goes right in. That's nice. That's nice by Highland Springs.
Brandon Gaddy returning from that huddle. Breon Gaddy will also be out there, but still no Ezekiel Ingram, who went to the bench in the third quarter with his third foul and has not returned.
As you talk, John, he's going to the table.
Oh, that's right. We have the coaches on headset tonight.
Yeah, that's right. John made that call. Anybody say I'm trying to coach from here, it's not me, it's John.
That's when you know you're in trouble. And that shot in trouble. Oxygen straight out of bounds for Palmer.
Not good. The wind blew that shot.
And tough going tonight from the perimeter for Booker T. And they trail by 9. Highland Springs trying to put it out of reach, but still plenty of time here. Booker T needs some stops now.
It's from the 4-minute mark down to the 2-minute mark. Very big when you're down in the fourth quarter. You got to make your run now.
Saw Enrico in the third game today. There's a reach in on Jeremiah Jenkins. Saw Enrico overcome an 11-point deficit heading to the fourth quarter.
On that foul right there, it's 2 hands on. That's an emphasis call this year. Once the defense puts 2 hands on a player, whether you reach in or not, it's an almost automatic, and that's what referee Scott Shoemate signaled. Again, 3 very, very good officials in this ball game.
Let him play. Just the third foul as a team for Booker T. Washington in this second half. Highland Springs has just 4. They also have a 9-point lead. Michael Sims, the junior, looking over the shoulder at the recently returned Ezekiel Ingram. Challenging Ingram, spinning through the foul.
And now Highland Springs again maintain this lead. Take some time off the clock. You don't need quick shots. Booker T can't score if they don't have the ball.
4 minutes remaining. That foul was on Ingram, and quickly he picks up his 4th personal foul. So Darren Sandelin brought him back. He picked up the foul, and we have 4 minutes remaining. Highland Springs leading Booker T. Washington by 9, 49-40. Troubles from the outside for the Bookers.
Hey, Dad. I thought you'd be watching the game.
Well, Joan Bear, I wish I was, but the TV's in there and the lawnmower's in here. Life is about compromise. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Well, I can pull it up right here. We have the Cox bundle. Dad, if we have cake, we should eat it.
Get a Cox bundle for $89.99 a month now with double the speed. Add home security starting at $29.99 a month. Plus, ask how to get a $300 prepaid card.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
4 minutes remaining here. Booker T. Washington trailing by 9. You see the upcoming schedule for the Bookers, starting with Green Run. They'll get Green Run coming up on Wednesday. Wilson and Norcom await after that.
I tell you what, it's not an easy schedule. They got some powerhouse teams that keep on playing. They wouldn't have any other way.
Including Highland Springs tonight. The Springers now for the first time lead by double digits as Sims gets them both to make the advantage 11.
Back into that 2-2-1 press.
And that time, it was Brandon Gaddy who got hit in the head inadvertently. I think Sims got him coming across the Marlins. And then we see that schedule, and you're right, Coach. Heavy hitters.
Green Run tough. Wilson's a young ball club. Norcom won the state title 4A last year. Lakeland's a problem at their place. Lake Taylor, that's a traditional Norfolk rivalry. Lake Taylor, Booker T going to Lake Taylor. Nothing easy for Darren.
Saw Lake Taylor a bit ago on HRSN taking on the Norview Pilots, and we'll get the Pilots on Tuesday matched up with Maury. So hot and heavy high school basketball around the area.
John, you should be paying to get in. You're going to see some great basketball Tuesday, a great fierce rivalry.
Brandon Gaddy is spilled, and he'll go to the foul line. Slap the floor. I think it's been a frustrating night for Brandon Gaddy tonight.
Getting a high post, didn't see anything down. Got away with a little bit of a hook, but he didn't get away with that foul. That was definitely, he definitely got knocked down. Foul him hard.
Gaddy back to the line with 3:42 remaining.
Again, the Gaddies are only sophomores, John. I keep thinking they're seniors. They'll be out of here soon, but you know what? They got 2 more years.
2 more years to continue to develop. Jeremiah Jenkins also just a sophomore. That's Catrell Cuffey there, spelling Jenkins brother Jadon Jenkins for a moment. Gaddy gets them both, cuts the lead to 9 with the clock stopped.
3 seniors on the Booker T squad. 1-2-1-1 press now again, designed to keep the ball out of the middle.
Jeremiah Jenkins trying to set up that trap, couldn't quite get there. Springers got out of that trap. Now content to work some clock here with the 9-point cushion.
Very good ball movement, and again, brought it back out front. They didn't take the quick shot, which they did earlier in the game. They don't need to now.
Na'Quon Trapp with it. Eating some significant seconds here already. Now looking for Gaston through the lane. That's painful for the Bookers.
That hurts. That comes down great. They ran up the time, got the shot they wanted late.
For all the latest updates, news, and schedule information, follow HRSN on Twitter at HRSN TV. And also like us on Facebook, HRSN, your Hampton Roads sports leader. And Coach, you mentioned the Spirit squads. Certainly not lacking in spirit despite the deficit. Is that Booker's Spirit squad here at Virginia Wesleyan College.
Yeah, both schools are known for their cheerleading squads, active. You know, now, John, cheerleading like back when you played, it's more about competitions and meets that they have. It's cheering at the game is secondary.
Yeah, it's a sport for them as well, as Highland Springs will get after it again this week, starting with Deep Run.
Yeah, I see no easy games for them coming up either.
Booker T. Washington needs points in a hurry. Palmer couldn't get it. Gaddy had a beat on the rebound, couldn't pull it in. Jeremiah Jenkins corrals for Booker T, but Ingram turns it over.
Big fella called for the ball, but in calling for the ball, he brought the defense over. They got a finger on it.
Just the turnovers have mounted for the Bookers and just haven't been able to get it done from outside, Coach, and that's why they're at arm's length and have been this entire second half.
I always say one of the keys in the game, more Jekyll, less Hyde. I would have to say Mr. Hyde, the bad guy, showed up more than the good guy so far.
And Gaston absorbed some hard contact. We'll see if that's on Ingram or not. If it is, that's going to be his 5th as we go back. And it is on Ezekiel Ingram as we look at it again. Got it with the hip.
Yeah, got him out front.
They disqualify Ezekiel Ingram.
Really could have flipped the coin on the foul there, but that's 5. He's got to come out now.
Ingram, the senior, one of the 3 that Coach Ed Young referenced, is done for the night.
Yeah, he showed some signs early in the first half. The foul trouble hurt him in the second. Never really got it going in the second half. That's a talented youngster, Mr. Ingram.
That's a talented youngster, and A.J. Gaston, senior leader of this Highland Springs team. His dad is actually an assistant coach with the program, been with the Springers for 15 seasons, in fact. He was described by George Lancaster as glass in your food.
Well, that's
as
not
in
good.
He'll kill you slowly.
Well, I tell you what, I don't want no glass in my food. It makes me want to check it now every time I look at it.
He's had our interest tonight. He's drawn interest from multiple levels collegiately.
He'll play next level.
Lead is 12. Breon Gaddy up ahead. This time shares it with Jeremiah Jenkins.
How about that? Big fella throws the little fella instead of the other way around, and he gets a layup.
Opposite end of the spectrum players there. And an open floor turnover. Gaston lost it. 3, and the Bookers need it, and finally Palmer gives it to him.
They needed that. I tell you what, it's a lot of guts to take that 3 when you're down, but 2 minutes ago, you're open, shoot it.
Quick timeout taken by Coach Darren Sanderlin and Booker T. Washington to say, hey, we're still in it on this make.
Right off that steal, he's wide open, makes the defense come out, makes him pay with the jumper. That's one thing about Booker T, John. They are not phased. They just play the way they play regardless, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. 2 minutes to go here to see what it does, down 7.
Highland Springs huddling up, trying to hold off Booker T, and again, they've got that road ahead, Coach.
That deep run, Verona will give them, both those teams a little bit younger this year than normal. They'll give them a problem, both those games at home. And of course, the Henrico game is coming up. Meadowbrook will be tough. They're at Godwin. But I tell you, right now, what I see in Highland Springs, it's going to take a whole lot of things working right to beat them.
They share the ball exceptionally well. The only team that has beaten them was L.C. Bird. Top team, as Matthew Hatfield described for us. Matt Hatfield in our public school top 10. There's Darren Sanderlin.
They're a little further along right now than Booker T is. evident from what I'm seeing here, but Booker T will be an issue to deal with in about a couple more weeks once they get everything down pat.
This was so fun about this event, the VirginiaPreps.com Classic. The fans enjoy it, but they have reason to. Every matchup boasts a powerhouse, and Booker T. Washington trailing in this game.
Absolutely. These are great state-level matchups in the middle of the season to see where you're at.
Had a fun one between Henrico and Norview prior to this. Henrico came all the way back from 16 down at the half. We'll talk to their head coach, Henrico's Vance Harmon, in between our games tonight. Still a minute 40 to go in this one, though. Booker T. Washington needs a stop.
They need a stop, and a foul will put them at the foul line. That'll be number 7.
We'll start fouling now. Jenkins just poked there at Trapp. It'll be 1-1. Nope, 1 to give. It'll be 1-1 on the next infraction.
Yeah, that was their 5th. They had 5. That was their 6th. So both teams will be shooting now 1-on-1, shooting 7. And when it gets to 10, it's an automatic 2-shot foul. Probably some strategy Booker T have to think about is fouling to stop the clock.
Maya Jenkins comes off. That was his 3rd personal. See if he comes back in on the offensive end. Booker T not fouling just yet, however. And they will allow Alexander down the lane, and Cottrell Cuffey is there. Secondary approach, also blocked by Cuffey. A 3rd chance, though, for Highland Springs, and that one's the charm.
Wow. Do I feel for the Bookers. Make 2 good defensive plays and don't get past the foul line with the ball, and Highland Springs gets the layup.
Look at this effort from
watch all
Cottrell
this,
Cuffey.
Great block. Don't get the turnover. Come in. Get the rebound. Come back. Fumble it. Took off before we had it. Step inside. Knock it. Whoa, that's got to hurt.
Give some credit to Na'Quon Trapp as well. He persevered through that whole play. Cottrell Cuffey with the 2 blocks, but Trapp ultimately the basket. Minute 17, and you saw the reaction from Darren Sanderlin as he huddles up with his Bookers there. He clapped his hands together mightily, was frustrated, and then just as quickly got enthusiastic and said, guys, can't fault the effort.
No, you can't. Okay, minute 17, you're down 9. What are you going to do, just quit? Lose by 19? You got to keep playing, and that's what Darren was going to let him know. You kind of coaches think, okay, well, let's play for the next game. Let's pretend we're down 4 right now. Here's what we got to do to try to get a steal. It's tough to do that with youngsters sometimes because they look at the scoreboard. But as I always said, what's the alternative? Just quit? All right, game's over. You're 117, just going to let them score all the time. Got to dig in.
Shot of that Booker T. Washington huddle by our tremendous HRSN crew. Again, we're just getting started tonight. John Marshall battles Lansdowne. We're going to have that for you. HRSN tonight as well.
I should be paying to get in these games. This is a tremendous matchup. We got another one to go.
Breon Gaddy had a big night, but no bucket there. Highland Springs has it. Gaston will take it to the bucket. Got blocked from behind by Carter Dupree. But the Springers will keep it as time continues to run out on the Bookers.
Yeah, that goes to show you. 2-on-1 Highland Springs. They missed the layup, so you figure Booker T gets the rebound. They dropped it out of bounds. Kind of how this game went for Booker T.
It's not crisp enough. Would that be an accurate description?
Yeah, they just Highland Springs is a couple steps ahead of them, a little bit further advanced. Booker T has nothing to be ashamed of. They're going to be very good. A team I wouldn't want to play later on in the season. They're going to be better. And the shots weren't falling today.
Under a minute to play now. Still hustling, still trapping are the Bookers. Springers are through it. And a foul on Jajon Jenkins will trigger that single bonus.
Yeah, and right there, I think what you try to do is try to get a steal if you can. Play aggressive, because if you foul, so what? Stops the clock. We got to do it anyways. Instead of just fouling automatically, what some teams will do.
Shooter will be Na'Quon Trapp. Jajon Jenkins will come off. And his brother Jeremiah will return.
Get 3-point shooters in. Now you got to launch them.
Deficit is 9. 49 seconds remaining. I'm impressed with Na'Quon Trapp tonight, senior guard. Plays a lot bigger than that listed 5'8".
Steady for that ball club. Doesn't really turn it over much. Takes the shot when it's open. Handles when necessary. Now he's got to knock free throws down when necessary, which is right now.
The first one did Trapp. And he'll get them both. Highland Springs continues to do the fundamental things just a bit better.
Yeah, like I said, a couple steps ahead. couple steps ahead. We got to stop in action here. I think George, he didn't like something.
I don't think the clock started on time there is what may have happened on the inbound.
Yeah, George wants that thing over with right now. You know, George, one of those guys, an old school coach, I think he has a toothpick in. More power to you. If I did, I'd swallow it after the jump ball. I already know I would. The way my guys play, I would be swallowing toothpicks.
Toothpicks, gum, what have you. And Booker T keeps it. Gaddy all glass, his brother Breon the rebound, and a tough bucket. As Breon, Gaddy, and these Booker T. Washington fighting Bookers continue to fight right into the timeout.
Again, and some people might say 28 seconds, you're down 11-9. What are you doing? Timeout. But it's, again, you're teaching your kids. It could be a close game down the road. You're down 3 or 4. You call that timeout so the kids are used to it. And again, you emphasize to them, we play into the buzzer. We're not giving them anything easy.
Highland Springs, meanwhile, huddling up. They are looking for their 9th win of the season. Just that lone loss to L.C. Bird. And what I loved about talking to Coach Lancaster about that is he was very honest. He said, you know, they were 25 to 27 points better than we were, and they beat us by 27. May not quite be the truth. As you look at our upcoming matchup, John Marshall, the Justices, taking on the Lansdowne Eagles. Again, we've had already nearly a whole game of action. We've got another game coming up, so stay with us, Coach. We're doing double duty.
People at home, you better get your pizza right now, get to the refrigerator soon, and sit back down. Don't miss. You think this one was good. Wait till you see the next one. Tons of athletes. That was John Marshall we got a quick look at.
Yeah, John Marshall, you heard during the half if you were with Matt Hatfield in our HRSN Public School Top 10, number 2. And that is featuring the 3A defending state champion John Marshall Justices against Lansdowne, who made it to the championship game in 6A last season. So again, every matchup in this tournament, star-studded, maybe none more so than that one.
It's a turnover.
There's a turnover forced by Booker T. Washington, still battling are the Bookers.
Young Breon Gaddy got a double-double. I believe, I could be wrong, it might be his first double-double of the season.
Breon Gaddy, heck of a game tonight.
Came in averaging 4 rebounds, 7 points. He's doubled both of those.
DeAndre Carter-Dupree got to the rack.
That's a youngster, too, I'd like to see later on in the season. I think that's a kid that has a lot of talent. Not quite sure we saw the best of him today, but he potentially will be a good one.
Highland Springs off this make.
Nice jump stop, laid up with the left hand. That's some fundamental play there. I like seeing that. I like that kid. That kid and Mr. Ingram, 2 key guys for Booker T down the road. Hey, Highland Springs, you're very good. Richmond basketball, John, they got some great teams. It's often said that to win a state title at some level, you got to come through the 757. But I'm telling you what, watch out for Richmond up there this year.
They go through the 804 most times as well, and that's what Darren Sanderlin said. He said the teams from Richmond tend to play a little bit faster, and that's what he was anticipating tonight. Highland Springs.
It's funny, John Marshall, the next team, their coach Ty White, has been in our fall league down here the last couple of years, and the reason was, I make the trip, he said, if we're going to win a title, we got to beat somebody out of the 757. And they did it last year, too.
This time the defense beaten down floor, and a foul on Trapp.
That's the home run play. You figure Booker T is going to deny you from getting it up close, so you run something long, and Booker T got there a little bit too late. Kind of a foul from behind.
Unfortunately, they had to give the foul on the shot attempt. Unfortunately, if you're Booker T. Washington, because 2 foul shots for Trapp rather than a single bonus.
Yeah, that was a block foul from behind. As a coach, I kind of question that because it looked like the offense jumped into the player, but he kind of bent backwards, and that's probably where you get the block call called. So the people that are frustrated on the call, no need to be frustrated. These guys know what they're doing with the whistles.
Trapp 5 assists tonight. Went over his average of 4 and done a nice job as the facilitator for that man, George Lancaster's Springers. And we are going to try to catch up with Coach Lancaster should the Springers hold off the Bookers here.
And I want somebody to ask George, what is the key for keeping the toothpick the whole game and not losing?
Well, you're just the man for the job.
I might ask. If they let me ask a question, I'm going to ask that one.
I'm going to let you ask a question. How about that? Here comes Carter Dupree. Highland Springs laying off defensively, and again,
no need to inbound it.
No need to go pick up the basketball. as we are down to 4 seconds to play here. The officials will stop it.
Now you have to inbound it because they stopped the clock. It's one thing on a made shot, but there's 5 seconds or less to go. You don't have to inbound. Let the ball roll. You have 5 seconds to get inbound. It's actually 4 because on the 5th one, they go to the other team. So you can let it go, and that's what Highland Springs tried to do, but unfortunately there were 7 seconds, and the referees blew the whistle just to stop it for some reason, so they have to inbound.
A little inbound with 4 seconds.
Just hold on to it.
Get it in, and quick whistle on the foul. And that will keep us going here. I don't think Booker T was trying to foul there, but
a little bit of frustration foul, yeah. I don't think Coach Sandlin wanted that. You're not going to get an 8-point play in a matter of 2.9 seconds, not against Highland Springs.
So it looks like Highland Springs will prevail here over Booker T. Washington. And is this the way that you thought this one might play out, Coach?
Yeah, I didn't make no predictions on the game. The only prediction I made didn't come through. I thought Booker T would probably take a lead in the second half, and I left it at that. They never did. Highland Springs contributed to that. Coming into the game, I thought Highland Springs maybe 6, 7, 8 points better than Booker T, only based on experience and what they've done so far this year. It's not a knock on Booker T.
Booker T certainly did have some opportunities tonight. I think Darren Sanderlin and his club will walk away from here thinking, hey, we can compete with the best in the state, and we know that. And we had some opportunities we didn't capitalize on tonight.
No question. This loss, Darren will forget about this by tomorrow. Monday they'll be back at practice, and they got big games coming up. Green Run is next, so they'll be all right.
Final couple seconds, and that will do it as Highland Springs prevails over Booker T. Washington. Our final score on HRSN, 61-53. We're going to kind of catch up with head coach George Lancaster after he goes through the congratulatory line, as Booker T. Washington certainly classy in the post game here following the loss to Highland Springs. And again, another great matchup here in this VirginiaPreps.com Hoops Classic, and we got what we paid for.
This was a good one. Unfortunately, the only bad thing I saw in this game, too many turnovers over Booker T. I'm going to say probably 16, 17, 18 turnovers, and I'll bet you that Highland Springs scored on half those.
And we'll step away and come back with Coach George Lancaster.
The best games, the best teams, the best athletes, the best coaches, the best coverage, all in one place. Wherever you are, it only happens on HRSN.TV. This is where we're from. This is what we're about. This is who we are. This is what we train for. This is our house. This is for us. Hampton Road Sports Network.
Back here at Virginia Wesleyan College, where Highland Springs defeats Booker T. Washington 61-53, and we are just about to be joined by victorious head coach George Lancaster as the two teams preparing for our nightcap here. Another great matchup still to come. John Marshall and the Justices taking on the Lansdowne Eagles. But before we get to that matchup, plenty of hoops coverage, and we'll start with head coach George Lancaster. And first of all, Coach, thanks for coming over. Congratulations on the win. What was the biggest key for your Springers tonight?
Well, I think balance is a key to all victorious teams. I think defense, we kept Booker T at bay, with the exception possibly of the Gaddy boys inside. Booker T played hard. They are young. They grew up tonight a little bit, I believe. Again, I got to give credit to the team, our team, for good balance, sharing the basketball, protecting it, and playing against a good team, a talented team, and a team that's going to get better down the road. Booker T is.
Hey, George, Ed Young, Nansemond River here to you. Congratulations on the win. And the big thing, Booker T, 16 turnovers, and you contributed to 14 points. I think that, to me, was the highlight of the game for your squad.
Well, that's a great analogy, and when you're not smart and you're old as I am, you sort of leave it to younger people to make that observation for you. We've been actually creating about 18 turnovers per game, and we're pretty quick and athletic, so we can run in transition. That's a great analogy. I'll take that back with us.
You don't need to take none from me. You win enough games on your own. But I want you to remember, 2007 we won the state title. You beat us, so if I would have beat you, you wouldn't have won that title.
Well, we had a lot of good players, and in spite of an old coach, they were victorious. And you know, what can I say? I've been blessed to be at Highland Springs these many years. I relish in working with young people. I'm a part-time teacher, part-time preacher, and maybe a half-time coach. So.
Head coach, tonight in the half court, you were quite a teacher defensively. You were able to hold Booker T. Washington 2 from 15 outside. What do you credit that defensive presence?
Well, we play a matchup zone, and it sometimes looks like a 1-3-1 or a 1-2-2, but actually it's a 2-3 inverted, if you will. So that's the best that I can describe it. Someone taught it to me, and I taught it to the kids, and that's what we do, and we did it pretty good tonight.
Hey, George, 3-2 inverted. You lost me a long time ago on all that stuff. I just get our kids to know what end of the floor to shoot the ball in. I'm lucky. But, hey, look, you guys, you really had Booker T scouted. You know Darren is a great motivator with his kids. They'll come at you hard, not going to quit. Outside shots didn't fall. You were able to contribute. You just kept them in a frustration all game long.
Well, we got an opportunity to have an advantage by coming down to the scope and seeing them play against Granby, a great game there, and I'm familiar with Booker T to a degree. Darren Sanderlin is one of the finest, most motivated, heartwarming coaches in the business, and Booker T is the fighting Bookers, and it starts on that bench, and he does a great job, and the 757 area is the best sports area in the state of Virginia, and you know, it rivals anything on the East Coast.
Coach, congratulations on career win number 682. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Good luck, George.
Thank you.
Highland Springs head coach George Lancaster and coaching legend and Hall of Famer. And let's look back at some of the highlights, Ed, from the Springers' 9th victory of the season.
Okay, this going inside Gaddy. This is the big thing that worked for Booker T, getting it into the big fella. Just when he got going, Highland Springs, that matchup took it away. But a couple of these instances he knows right what to do with it. Take that big body right to the hole.
You heard the coach there talking about having a little trouble containing the Gaddy boys. It was Breon Gaddy off the bench, and he was powerful tonight, a double-double. He led all scorers for Booker T. Washington this evening.
He had that double-double here. He's putting all these shots in. It just didn't get him quite enough, especially in the first half. Highland Springs, on the other hand, patient, driving. There's their man, Mr. Gaston, right down the lane. Gets the bucket right when you needed it.
And for the Springers, you'll see a number of players in the highlights rather than just one. They spread it out pretty effectively throughout the course of this game.
Beautiful pass. To me, that's the play of the game. That one coming in there where he just dished it off, beautiful. That was just nice. Booker T's making a run at that time. Mr. Gaston inside again on the inbounds play. Just get it to him. Number 4 knows what to do with the ball.
And it all adds up to a win for Highland Springs as we look at statistics from our first game tonight. And you see the three-point field goal percentage there for Booker T. Washington, not what they were looking for.
No, they're 2 for 15, uncharacteristic of them. They had to knock down more to make it a game. They won on the glass, but they do that all the time anyways. They just didn't convert enough offensive rebounds into points. Free throw line would have been nice to get there a little bit more and knock them down. Once again, we get to turnover, 16 total. And I'm sure points off that, I think it was 14, if I'm not mistaken. That's a big difference in the game.
Indeed it was, and you heard the thoughts of Coach Lancaster saying, yes, he was pleased with that. They actually usually get 18 turnovers. Let's go a little deeper, and there is that 14 points off turnovers for Highland Springs. Pretty even in the paint, and a wash otherwise.
Yeah, and again, that was a wash. Booker T's going to get most of the points because he got the big side guys in there. The second chance, again, equal. Booker T, a few more on the fast break points. Bench points, Booker T ended up getting more than Highland Springs. Highland Springs, the first half, had all the bench points, but looks like Booker T got them in the second half, if that stat is correct. Once again, it all came down to turnovers. Booker T made them, and Highland Springs converted them.
Big discrepancy there. The bench points, most of those scored by Breon Gaddy. But Highland Springs prevails in Game 1 tonight, 61-53. We continue to transition leading up to our second showdown. It's John Marshall taking on Lansdowne. But when we come back on HRSN, visits from HRSN's Matt Hatfield and also Henrico Warriors head coach Vance Harmon. Thrilling victory in Game 3 today. Hoops heavy on HRSN. We're right back.
This has been a presentation of the Hampton Roads Sports Network.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local boys and girls clubs. Great futures start here.
Hey, Dad. I thought you'd be watching the game.
Well, Joan Bear, I wish I was, but the TV's in there and the lawnmower's in here. Life is about compromise. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Well, I can pull it up right here. We have the Cox bundle. Dad, if we have cake, we should eat it.
Get a Cox bundle for $89.99 a month now with double the speed. Add home security starting at $29.99 a month. Plus, ask how to get a $300 prepaid card.
This fall, a new way to watch sports in Hampton Roads emerges. A new way to follow your team. A new way to follow your passion. All in one place, wherever you are. On Cox Channels 11 and 1011 or Cox Channel 110. And always on your PC, phone, and tablet at hrsn.tv. Live games, game recaps, analysis, previews. If it happens in Hampton Roads, it happens here on HRSN.
HRSN's coverage of the VirginiaPreps.com Hoops Classic continues. We have the organizer of the event and HRSN's Matt Hatfield.